what was your day job? Because obviously this was just a post that blew up organically and was becoming something that wasn't your day job.
That wasn't
right?
my day job.
Your day job wasn't to LinkedIn.
No. So I was in the nuclear energy space when all of this blew up. And we were building something really incredible, but I had to pick a lane. When all of this blew up, and I woke up at 2:00 one morning. And this is a really true story, where my heart was racing, and I thought, what am I going to do? Because I can't get back to all of these people, and I saw the opportunity with being able to connect the dots with all of these things. It's all about access, right? Everything is access. You've got something, you got an idea. You can be changing the world, right? If you can't let the right people know, nothing's going to happen.
Welcome back to another episode of Good Things with myself, Brent Lindeque, the Good Things guy. I tell you every episode that I'm excited as to who I have in studio with me, and it's no different today. I'm not being facetious. I am excited. I've got Nic Latouf. I hope I said that right.
You did.
It is French, right? Latouf.
It is.
Latouf. I've got Nic sitting with me in the hot seat, and today we're chatting about something that I'm sure you've seen on your timelines. It's called the Lekker Network. And at first I was like, what is that? And then you and I got talking a little bit on the phone, and I was like, actually, this needs to be broadcasted to more people so that they can know about this, because it seems to be a really lekker thing. So first of all, Nic, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. So great to be here.
It's fun. It's going to be a fun conversation. To start off, I mean, you've got it on your cap. We're branded. We're walking around with it. What is the Lekker Network?
Amazing. The Lekker Network's a good thing, and appreciates the opportunity to be here to talk about what we're building. And it really boils down to the fact that we see our diaspora, right? There's 1 million to 1.5 million South Africans that have moved abroad, and we see our diaspora as an amazing asset for South Africa. There's 1 million to 1.5 million South Africans that have moved abroad doing incredible things. And I'm sure you've seen it. I mean, you said to me, you're on your way to the UK tonight. There's 300,000 South Africans there. And so many of them have gone on to do incredible things. But the thing with South Africans is quiet and we're humble. So we don't always know how amazing South Africans are doing abroad. And what we're saying is, and when I say abroad, I mean everywhere. Yeah. I don't just mean the UK or Australia or the US. I mean everywhere.
Because the reality is that many South Africans, for whatever reason, have left the country. That's okay. Like, it's okay that they've left the country. They're working in different spaces for different reasons. And there are South Africans that can be found all around the world.
And I've seen it. And I've seen it firsthand. And, building the Lekker Network over the last couple of months, I've seen, I spend time where, we have a process. If you want to join the Lekker Network, you got to go onto our website, and then you set a meeting up with myself or Renier. So we interview and we meet everybody that wants to join the network. And so I get to have 14 to 15 of these meetings a day. So I meet these South Africans abroad and hear what they're doing and seeing where they are, from Luxembourg to Liechtenstein to Costa Rica, Mexico, China, everywhere. And they're all, and here's the interesting thing. A lot of the South Africans that have left, South Africa doesn't leave them. Yeah. That South African stays with them. I don't care what anybody says, I see it, right? The South African stays with them. And the moment you give them an opportunity to give back and to connect, they jump at it. We don't have South Africans coming to us going not interested. In fact, we have completely the opposite.
Yeah.
We have every South African we talk to wants to get involved, wants to do something, whether it's from a knowledge sharing perspective or opening a door, they want to get involved. It just almost feels like there wasn't the vehicle for them to do that. And that's kind of where what we're building.
So I'm going to pause you, because you've spoken about the idea of bringing all these South Africans together to be part of this thing. But you haven't told me what the thing is. So what is the thing?
The thing. So the thing is, we knew that there was something there. So how it started is, I posted on LinkedIn a year ago, right? That said, I had this amazing December holiday. I came out of the December holiday. I was in a good mood, and I literally said, you know what? South Africans are South Africa's best exports. And the post blew up, and I thought, okay, this is amazing, right? I'm getting all these new followers. This is great. Let me keep talking about this, right? But it was something I really believed in. And so like the second post was, I just had a brainstorm session with some friends of mine, and we're going to call it the Lekker Network, and more and what happened was I started getting about 60 to 70 messages every single day, right?
On LinkedIn.
Well, it started on LinkedIn, then people started finding my WhatsApp number, and they started WhatsApping me and calling me. So 60 to 70, and I'm not exaggerating. I mean, it was, and I always had this belief that if somebody messages me, like, even if they're trying to sell me something, be polite, be good, and reply to them. But then I started stressing out because I couldn't reply to all of these people.
It was just too much.
It was just too much. But everybody was messaging me with the same kind of mindset, where it's a guy would message me from Australia and say to me, Nic, we've been here for 20 years. We have relationships with all the retailers. Send us stuff, right? Guys in Dubai. Guy would message me from Dubai and he'd say to me, Nic, we've got distribution, we've got money, we've got access. Send us stuff. Same thing all over the world. Guy from the Caribbean, he goes like, Nic, we've been here for so long, we know all the cruise ships, right? Send us stuff that we can introduce to the cruise ships. So I'm like, okay, I will, So I started connecting them with some brands, and it was just, and I started realizing, okay, so if I just literally connect him with that brand to the guy in Dubai, I could probably save him like 5 years, right? And the guy in Dubai wants to help because he's reached out to me going like, with open arms, like, let's help other South Africans.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if there wasn't that opportunity, before to do that. So that kind of started happening in the background, and to the point where like, I couldn't just connect every brand and every opportunity that was coming to me
by yourself.
Yeah, by myself.
It's just too much.
So, and this is a true.
Sorry, I'm gonna pause you. What was your day job? Because obviously this was just a post that blew up organically and was becoming something that wasn't your day job.
That wasn't
right?
my day job.
Your day job wasn't to LinkedIn.
No. So my day job at the time was, so I was one of the founders of Veldskin, right? So I had exited Veldskin, about 3 years ago. Well, it's actually almost about 4 years ago.
I feel like a lost opportunity here. I should have worn my Veldskin.
Totally. And me. So I exited that company, and then I was in a very fortunate position where I had a lot of incubators and VCs that reached out to me to do a lot of mentoring. So I helped a lot of startups, mentored a lot of startups, teaching them how to, box smart and digital. A lot of them had a lot of ambition, but very little budget. So I started doing a lot of that. And then a friend of mine got hold of me, and he's a nuclear engineer, and said to me, listen, they've got this incredible idea. The best nuclear engineers in the world are South African. I'm like, okay, that's super interesting. Come and build this with us, right? So it was small modular reactors, and I'd be on the kind of the storytelling side and the getting attention side, which is something that I was really good at. So I was in the nuclear energy space when all of this blew up. And we were building something really incredible, but I had to pick a lane.
Yeah.
When all of this blew up, and I woke up at 3:00 one morning. This is a really true story, where my heart was racing, and I thought, like, what am I going to do? Because I can't get back to all of these people, and I saw the opportunity with being able to connect the dots with all of these things. It's all about access, right? Everything is access. You've got something, you've got an idea. You can be changing the world, right? If you can't let the right people know, nothing's going to happen. If you can't get people's attention, if you can't connect the dots, access is everything. And I saw firsthand that South Africans have gone on to do incredible things. Let me tell you one interesting story. So I'm on a call with this guy. He wants to join the Lekker Network. He's been living in Liechtenstein for 20 years. This is an honest, true story. And he says to me, just bought a house in Nice, and he wants to come back, right? Tired of living in Europe. He owned a big fund there, and he's talking to me about the Lekker Network. So I'm explaining it to him, and at the time I had this concept in my head that was kind of formulating around the 6 degrees of separation, going, with South Africans, there's probably 3 degrees, right? And I'm telling him, and I'm saying to him, Johan, you know what? The thing is, if you've got a product and you want to get it into Walgreens, and why I say Walgreens, I don't know. And I go, if you want to get into Walgreens, there will be a South African who will know somebody who will be able to help you, right? And he looks at me and he goes, yeah, Nic, that's me. I go, like, what do you mean? He goes, no, the founder of Walgreens' son was my intern for 3 years. I'm like, I swear that happened. I swear. Because I still emailed him afterwards, and I still said, do you mind if I post about that on LinkedIn, right? And he's like, no, that's cool.
That's literally the universe. If you believe in that.
Yes.
Serendipitous, whatever it is. That is the universe at play. Totally. That is something going, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. totally. And I'm going to keep going. But so much of that happens. But it was just so interesting because when I normally talk about those kind of things, I always say Walmart, because we do know a lot of South Africans that are very successful, that do know the Walmart family, all of that kind of thing, and can open those doors.
John,
right?
I feel like Walmart is also maybe a better known
correct.
American brand because we see it in the media, we see it in movies and series, and we speak about Walmart and Walgreens is there.
And I literally comes out of my mouth, Walgreens, and he's like, yeah, no, they know the family really well, and he can be the person that does those introductions. So I'm like, listen, that's incredible. So fast forward a couple of weeks, and I'm like, I don't know how to do this myself, and I found a very good friend of mine, Renier Lombard, who's a brilliant, business mind, and I said, you've seen this. Is this something that you want to join me with and come and help me build this? So he came on board as my partner from an execution perspective, and we took one step back, and we literally said to everybody, right? So everybody says they want this, right? They want a network. They want us to build this, right? Everybody's happy. We're getting the 60 to 70 messages every day, but will you pay for it?
Yeah.
Right? Because it needs to be a business. It needs to.
Well, also, so if you've got people that are running it, if it is something that's more than just an idea, and if it's going to go further than where it is, it's going to need funding, right?
Correct.
It's going to need funding to pay for your salary, so you can stop the things that you're doing and start to put your foot on the gas to grow this thing.
Correct. And that's important, right? That it's sustainable and it's a business, because then you can keep hiring and you can do all the good things and you can have a good product, and you got team members and it works then, and everybody gets the value from that. So we said to everybody, right? So would you pay for this? And everybody's like, yes. So we, everybody says they're going to pay, but then we send out invoices and everybody does pay, right? And 200 members buy a year's membership up front. And we like,
and I mean, they still don't know what it is. But they're like, I understand the concept. So we're on different sides of the world, and we're going to build this network where we can work together to create better things as South Africans. But it's still not like a full-on product. It's still an idea.
And the beautiful thing about that is, as long as you're transparent, right?
Yeah.
And we said to every single person, guys, we don't know what you're getting, right? We don't know. None of us have ever built a network before. We just know that our hearts are in the right place and the vision is good. And the byproduct of all of this is going to be powerful for South Africa.
Yeah.
And everybody was on board, right? And we kept it at 200. We could have gotten a lot bigger than that, because after that we had a wait list of almost 600 people, right, wanting to come on board. And then we took a step back and we studied every network in the world. What makes YPO great? What makes EO great? What makes Civitas great? What makes Chief in the US, right? A network focused on C-suite women that built into a unicorn in 3 years, a dollar unicorn in 3 years, right? And we took a lot of what works in all of that, and we met with every single person that became a member, and we asked them, what you want, and then we built a framework around that, and we had an official launch in March. So we're officially around 6 months old now.
Yeah. Can I ask you, without giving too much away of what your business is or how you've built it, but what was the common thing? What is the meat of a network?
Absolutely. So I'll take you through the framework as to you become a member, and what do you get? Like, what is the actual product? Like, what is the Lekker Network? Yeah. So again, so it's a paid.
Also, I'm pausing here.
Yes.
Hashtag not a sponsored post.
No, not at all.
I'm not being paid to have you on the show today, and I'm not a member of the Lekker Network.
Correct.
I really just
but soon will be.
I saw what Nic and Renier were doing, and I have no idea if we were connected on LinkedIn.
Yes.
But the Lekker Network for the past year in my peripheral has been everywhere.
Yes.
And I've seen it everywhere. And perhaps it's because of my mutuals, like Bruce Whitfield, or like Mark Sham, or I've seen it on in my peripheral.
Yes.
And so I'll just put that teaser.
No, absolutely. And Bruce is interesting, because before Bruce even became, came on board with the Lekker Network, and actually before even Renier came on board, Bruce reached out to me when I was talking about it in the early days and had me on his show one night as one of the shapeshifters. Talking about this, like in the very early days of conceptualizing. He came to me, seeing me post about it, which was so interesting. And I remember there was one of those moments where I was so overwhelmed with how many people were reaching reaching out to me, and I had to like try and do this interview with Bruce. And I remember thinking to myself, what if he asks me, because he's so much smarter than I am, what if he asks me questions I just don't know how to answer? So I had this thing in my head where I'm going to go into that podcast and I'm going to talk so much that he's not going to have a chance to ask me any questions, right? And I did it, and it was a great podcast. But yes, Bruce and John Sarney and Bob Skinstead and all of them, got involved with us, which is amazing. Sharing the vision. Listen, we're not the first people to try and build a global network, right? Of South Africans connecting South Africans. There's many Facebook.
So there's other people that have tried it?
Other people have tried it. And again, like, there's nothing special about us. I think it's timing. Right, I think that the stars aligned. From the very first post, timing is everything, and people just, we also have the technology in the world right now, and the stars aligned, and we're the lucky people that get to be the custodians of this incredible thing that's happening.
All right, so I did push us off track there for a second. We're going to go back to the meat of it.
Yes.
So
what do you get? Absolutely. So we built this incredible platform, right? A little bit of a Frankenstein where we took a whole bunch of things, put it all together, and what do people want, what works, etc. So we're in the process of now going, okay, we see like people want this and this and this and this, and this is what's going to really create some value from a tech and platform perspective. We've got an amazing tool called Lekker Intros, right? What Lekker Intros does is it literally sends you a message and it goes, Brent, you need to meet Peter in New York, and here's why, right?
Okay.
And sets up a meeting for the two of you.
How does it work that out? Is that algorithms and AI?
Completely.
And
It is AI driven, but when you sign up when you become a member, you have to fill out all of your profile details.
Yes.
And so the more you fill out, and the more
it's like
it gets
a
to know about
Tinder for
you.
business.
It's a Tinder for business. Doesn't sound like a bad thing, and especially when it's with South Africans.
Yeah.
So Peter in New York is perfect because Peter's doing something really interesting, and Brent, you need to be talking to Peter, and it sets up the meeting for the two of you, right? So that's really great. And I'll tell you. I mean, Justinus, who's sitting here now
in the green room, busy
in the green room
watching
over
this
here.
interview happen live.
Yeah, he met somebody who's working on a project with him through the Intros tool.
Yes.
That's doing some work with him now, which I thought was so cool. So there's many of those stories. Then we have all our WhatsApp groups, right? And the interesting thing about WhatsApp groups is none of the networks that we studied around the world have been able to get away from WhatsApp. So no matter how cool and great your platform is, people aren't going to use it as much as you think they're going to use it.
Yeah.
They're going to use what they know.
Yeah.
So we've got all our WhatsApp channels, and the WhatsApp channels are incredibly powerful. Super noisy, so we always have feedback sessions with our members. Like, we've never built a network. We are 6 months in. The first year is all about learning and iterating and polishing. So we have these sessions where it's like, guys, like, what are our blind spots? Like, what are we not seeing? Like, what can we do better? And the big one that's come back to us is, Nick, the WhatsApps are so noisy. And the first thing I say to them is like, okay, listen, I'd rather have it noisy than crickets, right?
Yeah.
And they are noisy because people are excited and there's so much business happening, so many opportunities flying through all of them, right? And we've got ones where it's, how can I help you, right? You need help with something, somebody will help you, and it's I mean, I'll show you afterwards. I mean, it's just consistently people helping each other, which is amazing. We have a Geers one, that's when Drickus is fighting and somebody's at the show and at the fight, and he takes a picture of himself and puts it on there. You don't have to be on those groups. There's paddle. Yeah. There's members. There's an AI one where there's a lot of knowledge sharing around AI. There's a cybersecurity one with all the smart cybersecurity members from around the world. So you get access to all of that. And all of that's really powerful, and that you can tap into at any time. And again, there's no obligation, right? Then we've created a lot of our own experiences, which are really powerful. And I'll give you an example of one. There's a few. One is called the micro meets. So powerful. So what it is what we realized is you put a bunch of South Africans in a room together and amazing things happen, right? And we saw it in London. In London, we had a meetup in London where it was the launch of our London chapter, and we had 100 South Africans. We had a massive, we only could fit 100 into this room, and long wait list, so we just couldn't get everybody in. But 100 South Africans in this room. I had a guy coming up to me at the end of the night going, Nick, I've been in London for 3 years. I've got 2 kids. He says, I battled here. He says, I had 3 life-changing conversations tonight, right? And he said, just thanks, He also said, it's just such a nice vibe. We didn't do anything. We really didn't do anything special, we set the tone where it's the DNA of everything we do is how can I help you? Not what can I get. How can I help you? That's the DNA. That's why Renier and I, when I say interview, we meet everybody that comes in. We want to make sure that they understand that is what the Lekker Network is about. And if you don't align with that, then unfortunately, it's not the right network for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So the micro meet session is Zoom session where 15 members get curated onto a Zoom. Everybody just takes 5 minutes going around the room talking about where in the world they are and what they do.
Yeah.
When you just learn about what Peter does in New York, right? Like dots connect in your head. You're like, oh, jeepers, you know what? I was looking for that, you know? Or, you know what? I know somebody that you will not believe what happens in those sessions. It is so powerful and it's so simple. So we have those running all the time and members get to meet and it's new people all the time getting mixed into those sessions and it's very powerful. We have a boost session, which is you come in with an ask and it's like, I really need an introduction to somebody at Walgreens.
That you've just lit something in me, because that's powerful when it comes to business. So yes, how can I help you? But sometimes you have to put your hand up and go, I'm trying to do this.
Totally.
Can someone help me? And I've found, being a business owner and an entrepreneur, I've never belonged to any networks or any groups.
Neither have I prior to this.
It's a very lonely road.
Yes.
To be an entrepreneur is an incredibly lonely road. And sometimes you may have questions that you don't know where to go to get the answer.
Totally.
You don't know where to go to get the
Everything is access. Everything is about people, right? Every opportunity that you've ever had with Good Things Guy has come through people and come through one connection, connecting you to another person, etc. Like everything. So all we're saying is, you know, if we connect the dots and go from 6 degrees to 3 degrees, we can just do so much more of that, right? And then again, the byproduct of all of that is jobs being created in South Africa, opportunities being created in South Africa, and South Africans just connecting more. So
is it only the membership? Is it only for people that are all around the world? Or is there like a South African chapter that is being built here on home turf?
Totally. Half our members are South African. Here we've got a Joburg chapter. We've got a paddle game tomorrow night. We've got a chapter head who's going into it full time now. Everybody gets paid within the network, so we don't have volunteers. Our chapter heads get paid. It's a proper business.
Yes.
And we love that, and that's something that that's very sacred to us. We've got a chapter in Cape Town. We'll soon be building a chapter in Durban. We've got a lot of members that are popping up in Durban,
and then all the other provinces will follow.
Totally, and then all the other locations around the world. You know, we're about to launch. Still this year will be Amsterdam, which will be Netherlands, Dubai, Sydney. A lot of interesting things happening out in Sydney, Dublin. We're going to be doing a meetup with Business Island, South Africa, and all these other amazing organizations when the Springboks play. The Irish in Dublin in November, which is going to be amazing. You know, I post on LinkedIn. Here's an interesting thing. I post on LinkedIn and I go, "This is what we're thinking. You know, we want to do a meetup and a launch in Dublin. Who's in? Who wants to come with us, right?" And the guy messages me and he's like, "Nic, I'm South African. I'm very high up at Guinness." You know, he's like, we're happy to get involved, and we're happy to see what we can do and give a tour and But that's the thing,
that's
right?
The thing. It's about that connection and the network. I must ask, as someone who's never been in the network space,
yes,
I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Absolutely.
What would you say to someone who would say it's a bit cultish to belong to this thing that you only want to be part of the network, and it kind of consumes you and it becomes your life? And what would you say to someone who said that?
Sure. So I don't think that it does consume you. I can see where you're coming from with that, right? And it's an interesting thing because you're not the first person to ask me that. There has been one other person that asked me that, and it was interesting because then I went online and I typed in every network and used the words "is a cult." Right, and the amount
what came up?
Yeah, no, well, YPO has many, accusations of it being a cult, right? So does EO, so does pretty much every network, right? Yes. And I think that's just, I think it's silly. It's the two are very, very, very different, and we all know that, right?
Well, I mean, I don't mean it in that ominous sense. I just mean it becoming really part of your life and something that the word consume comes to mind because you do then get really sucked into this world.
Totally.
And yes, it's successful and positive, and you're doing great things.
Yes.
But does that remove you from the rest of the world?
Yes, correct. And very, very, very good question. And that's something that we tackled in the early days. Being exclusive versus being inclusive, right? If we're creating this kind of ecosystem where does it become enclosed? And I think it's exactly the opposite, right? I think it actually makes you look a lot more outward because what we're doing is we're going South Africans locally. There's a big world out there, and you're not you're not necessarily doing business with South Africans, just South Africans are opening doors for you.
Yeah, but also, so you've also hit something very interesting there, is that you don't know what you don't know.
Correct.
So if you had to be here in South Africa doing your thing, and then all of a sudden you're introduced to, I don't know, the Philip or Peter from New York, who's able to then expand on whatever you're doing, that changes your future.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And again, I'll tell you many stories like that. I mean, one quick story. So, Samreen, she messages me this morning because I see on one of the groups, she's like, does anybody, are there any members in Qatar? Right? Because she's going to Qatar. And we know we're very close to Brian Habana's brother, who's in Qatar, right? And is an amazing human being, and also just wants to help, right? And connect and help. And I'm like, absolutely, like we know Brad, and happy to connect you with Brad. But she's got this amazing business, right? Where single female founder. Right, frozen foods business where she's taken samosas and they're frozen and they're vegetarian and they're done in ways that nobody else is doing these things, and she managed to get them into all these airlines and leaping off the African continent. And she messaged me this morning, and I said to her, like, how are you finding the network? Like, I'm going to connect you with Brad, but like, how are you finding everything? And she was like, she was just like giving me examples, and she's only been involved in the network in a month. She's giving me examples, and she's successful.
Yeah.
But she's giving me examples of things that the network is, that people in the network have helped her with, that have been like a complete game changer for her. Right? Access, right? And it's not just access to like open doors, it's also access to just knowledge and information. And she was just literally just talking about something from a VAT import perspective, right? Somebody else who had done it, right? Paid the school fees, but able to share that knowledge with her and point her in the right direction and save her so much time and money, as opposed to sitting there building this business alone and not having access, right? Just to the right people, even just to bounce things off of. So going back to it becoming all-consuming, etc., I don't think so, because I think everybody's heart is in the right place and the vision is in the right place, and at times it absolutely can feel like that, and we're learning that ourselves, right? I mean, this is what I do now full time, is building the Lekker Network, and that's going to become like my persona, and that's how people are going to get to know me. But I'm also not that. I'm
okay, but there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing.
So like when Good Things Guy was started a decade ago. I didn't know how big it would become in my world.
Yes.
And now when people see me, that's the first thing that they see. And I'm very proud of that.
Yes.
I'm very proud of that. So you need to be proud of that as well.
Yes.
I was only asking that question to play devil's advocate.
100%. And it's such a great question, because all of these things for us are important because they make us look at our blind spots and things that we may not see, and that we can fix and polish.
So let me ask this, because you mentioned starting off with 200 members. You've mentioned chapters around the world, locally and around the world. What are the numbers sitting at now? Because they can't be 200.
No, it's not 200. So we are hitting 400 this week.
Yeah.
Which is, no. And again, like, listen, we could be a lot further on, but we decided to take a step back.
And it's obviously the interviewing and the process, and you wanted a little bit controlled.
We have to, because there's still pieces of the puzzle that we're busy putting together, right? What does a chapter head do? How does a chapter head provide? How does a chapter look? How often are there meetups in the chapter? There's an interesting thing that happened where what we're doing now is so we have all the tech and we have all of these online meetups, but nothing beats in person, right?
Yeah.
Like we could be doing this, on Zoom, super easy, right? But nothing beats in person. And we know that, and we see what happens when South Africans get together in person. So we are hiring 3 people this week whose sole job it is to set up coffee meetups between members around the world, right? So you're traveling to London now. What they'll do is they'll be setting up 3 or 4 coffee meetups with amazing South Africans in London. You don't have to do anything. You just have to go and have coffee, right? And pay for it.
Well, it's Ubuntu in action. It's us coming together.
Totally.
It's the sharing of knowledge.
Totally.
It's the how can I help you.
Totally.
And it's expanding your horizons.
And your network.
I feel like I need to join now, right before I get on that flight, so that I can get these meetings.
I told you. But here's another important point, right? Again, we're talking a lot about South Africans. We've probably got 15 members who are not South African, right? And that's great.
They just want to be part of the
Lekker Network. They just
Lekker
want to be part of it. Oh my goodness. And it's amazing that we've like attracted these people, like, 2 or 3 people from the Netherlands, and they're amazing. And they're like, we love this so much. I mean, there's somebody, Miriam, who I hope she doesn't mind me mentioning her name on this, Hi Miriam, who joined from the network last couple of days, and just have a look at her posts as to why she joined and what's happened. And finally she found something that's built in the whole philosophy of how can I help you? And the interesting thing is, it's not just something we say, right? It is something that we live and breathe, because if you're happy to help, they're happy to help you, right? So when you do need help with something in an introduction or whatever, then it does flow your way. And that's so it's not only South Africans, right? But it is people that believe in that South Africanness. And South Africanness is interesting and it is different. And I do believe that the next decade belongs to South Africa. So let me say this: I believe the next decade belongs to South Africans. Right, and I strongly believe that, because I think that we have that humility. We have a lot of things that are going to start blossoming. Right, everything that we've been through, our shared heritage, our shared connections, what we've gotten to do out in the world, and the fact that we're able to connect. I think that the next 10 years we're going to see so many amazing things happening with
that. Is powerful. The next decade belongs to South Africans. Nic, I'm going to have to end this because we're running out of time. But I need to ask, obviously, so you've capped it now at 400, but you are still...
So we're not capping it at 400, we've just hit 400. Yes, we're continuing.
There's a waiting list, there's an interview process.
Correct.
If someone is sitting, listening right now, watching, and they are interested in just learning a little bit more about the Lekker Network.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is so obvious because you can literally Google it and you'll find it, or you're going to see it on your LinkedIn. And the fact that you're watching this now, the algorithms are going to pick it up and you're going to see it everywhere. But if people want more information, where do they go?
Sure. You know what's super easy is 2 things. One is literally go onto LinkedIn and type in the Lekker Network, and you'll also see a lot of people talk about it from their perspective, which I think is great. So it's not just us preaching it; it's everybody else's experience with the Lekker Network, right? So that's one way. And the other way is, you can DM me anytime, Nic Latouf, or go onto our website, thelekkernetwork.com, and set up a meeting. You can set up a quick 15-minute meet. Would love to meet people. Would love to meet whether you want to join or not, you just want to talk about it. That's amazing. And me meeting more people, I also then, even if you don't join, I know that Peter in New York, who maybe hasn't joined, still can open a couple of doors, and I can still connect people to him, etc. Like, amazing. Like, let's all just keep connecting dots, building network, access, and growing.
How can I help you is the biggest thing, and I love that that's how the conversation has started with the Lekker Network, because that's how we create change and that's how we make things happen. It's been incredible having you on the show today. I've really enjoyed our chat.
Likewise, thanks so much.
If this was an interview, we can chat after this. we can chat after this. It's been great. As per every week and every episode, I have to do the thing where I tell you to like and share and subscribe and click, and I think so this morning when I checked, our YouTube has almost hit 40,000 subscribers, which is just really insane for this little podcast that we have. Our episodes are anywhere between 200,000 to 500,000 views.
That's right.
And it's all because of you enjoying the conversations that we're having. So thank you for tuning in. Like I say every week, I'm wishing you only good things. Okay, love you, bye.